Next speaker is Dr. Langer. And before I continue on here, actually, Dr. Langer, would you like to tell us why you chose an iPad as one of the raffle prizes for today's event?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So we Iris is great at implementing technology. I feel like we're often on the forefront of new technology in the profession of like whether it be remote optometry or otherwise. I've got a lot of great technology in my practice here, and we use everything is done through the iPad. All of the opticians, the front staff, myself, everything just goes through this. So sucks when this falls apart or when we're having technological errors. Obviously, the world comes crashing down pretty quick. But no, the iPad is pretty central to what I do on an everyday basis with the EMR and everything else, and just the updating technology and showing the patients what's going on. So I assume that's why Iris wanted to donate an iPad and rooting for you all to get it. So props to the winner. Well, I don't have a fancy slides show to give you guys. I just wanted to just chat, really. So it's going to be pretty low key, I guess. But I was told I should talk about my route to partnership. My route to partnership really began in my second year of optometry school, and I really can't stress enough to those of you that are in the earlier years of optometry school, make time to network, make time to build those connections. Whereas a lot of my classmates were studying for the inevitable like onslaught of exams that kept coming and coming and coming. I remember taking off for weekends and going up to Vancouver. I was out at Pacific University, so on the West Coast in Oregon. And I'd be going up to Vancouver to network. And a lot of that was with Iris. I'm an Iris optometrist. I've been an Iris optometrist my entire career, which is going on 10 years now. But it was also with different companies and different private practices as well. And so I really stress that. Take the time, step back from the exams and the onslaught of the academics, and just try to get that kind of bigger picture on where you want to go. And that's only going to come from building bridges. So by the time you get to fourth year, you've got numerous bridges lined up, just trying to figure out which one you want to cross. Okay, anyway, so get to my fourth year, and it's time to pick a destination where I want to work. And I had really kind of two lined up. I was going to go to either Iris or this private practice in Calgary that I used to work at. They're family friends. They were running this hugely successful private practice. It is now a FYI practice, and they're loving life as an FYI practice. They're doing great. But Dr. Wayne Klecki, he was kind of envisioning. So he had a daughter about my age. She was in optometry school at a different school, but we were graduating around the same time. And he was kind of envisioning us finishing graduation and then just kind of taking over the practice together. But then we were out for beers, and he's like, you know what, Mark? He's like, I know you got a lot of student loans. He's like, I know money's probably at the forefront of your decision here, but I can't stress enough, pick where you want to live and make a life there. And he was saying, he's like, listen, I made a lot of money in Calgary, and he loved his life in Calgary. But on his weekends, he was heading to BC and hanging out with his classmates. I think he's a Waterloo grad. He was hanging out with his classmates and looking around and being like, you know what, they might not have made as much money as him because he had a hugely successful practice. But he's like, they're living where I want a vacation every weekend. So that really resonated with me. That hit home. And I highly stress that wherever your potentials are, if you're single, go wherever the heck you want. But if you're married, figure out where you and your family want to be and make a great life there. With optometry, you're going to have so much opportunities and potential to build something great. But the beautiful thing about optometry, and part of the reason why most of us go into it, is, yeah, you can provide for a family, but you also have a lot of time outside of your profession to live life. So make sure that life outside of work is at the forefront of any decision you make career-wise. Anyways, okay, so I eventually took his advice. He was inadvertently steering me away from his clinic, but took his advice and moved to BC and worked with Iris in interior BC in the Kootenays. But all of my family seemed to be moving to the Okanogan. I come from a huge family of one of 7 kids. And a lot of my family's in Vernon. So I called up David, one of the vice presidents in Iris. And I said, hey, if a position opens up in Vernon, I want to be there. And 3 weeks later, he called me up. He's like, hey, funny enough, a position just opened up. And so we're like, let's go. So moved to Vernon, still Iris optometrist. I got married to a girl from Pittsburgh. And so I moved her from Pittsburgh out to Vernon, to this little town with no sports. I mean, Pittsburgh's a huge sports town for those of you that don't know. So no sports, no friends, not much going on for a nightlife. And so the first couple of years were a little bit difficult, actually, but also just incredibly blessed. But the reason I bring that up is because I couldn't enter into a partnership until she was on board. And for those first few years of our marriage, we weren't sure if we were moving back to Pittsburgh or if we were going to stay in Vernon. But 5 years and 3 little dudes later, I got 3 little guys running around the house, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. It's just freaking awesome. But anyways, eventually she fell in love with Vernon, and she's like, let's set down some roots. So we bought a house. And then she brought it up. She's like, once the house was bought, she's like, okay, what about partnership? And partnership was always on the table for me. Iris always just said, okay, yeah, we want you as a partner, but in your time, there's never any pressure. But once my wife was on board, it was green lights, let's go. I always wanted to become a partner. I think it just made sense for what I wanted to do. I agree with some of the previous speakers that you can have a great life as an associate. You don't need a partner in. But for me in Vernon, it made a lot of sense. And so, yeah, it's just, it's been awesome. One of the things that I really love about, I'm not here to promote Iris per se, but it's been my experience. That's all I know as a professional optometrist. So that's going to be my experience I'm going to share. One of the things that I absolutely love about my situation is that I have entire teams in the Iris network that are there for my success, that are trying to drive this bus forward with me. So I don't have to worry about all the crazy details that come with running a clinic. I got to show up, worry about my patients. And then at the end of the day, I take my optometry cap off. I go home, put my daddy cape on, and I'm just present with my wife and kids because I don't have to worry about all of the details of running a practice. Since I've partnered in, I really haven't spent 15 minutes worried about my practice at home because I have full faith in the individuals and the groups that are helping me find success here. And so there's going to be awesome opportunities in private practice. There's going to be awesome opportunities in corporate. For me and Iris, it's been an awesome gig. I love my career. I love what I do. You guys are all in an awesome spot. I really hope to see you. Hopefully some of you see you on Iris trips. We do quite a lot of trips to cool places and really build the family. So hopefully we'll see some of you there. I'm going to try to keep my my talk short, so we'll wrap it up. If you have any questions, I'll be around afterwards. Feel free to shoot me a question or send me an email. Yeah, hopefully there's something in there that you could take home.